Over the last couple of days, I've done some posts where these husbands or these boyfriends have been blindsided by their significant others just walking away. And like Evergreen Force, which says, blindsided men stories are my very favorite FAFO content. I'm just cackling as I watch. A lot of women have expressed this sentiment, so I've gone and gathered some comments, and I'm going to fill this next post with a bunch of comments of women blindsiding their significant others. I love my comment section and I love the shift that I'm seeing amongst women. All right, so Our Own says, this is exactly how me and my last ex broke up. He told me it was over, told me he blocked me and not to reach out. Literally later on in the same day, he said I was unblocked now and can reach out and talk and clear the air, only to crash the hell out once he realized I wasn't reaching out to him ever again. He sure wasn't expecting that. They literally want women to grovel and beg and plead to come back, and women are saying, "No, I'm good. Good decision. High five." So we got LLAP saying, an ex of mine effed around and found out. He wanted to split up. I said okay, and immediately found a place to live, leaving him with big rent that he couldn't afford, LOL. He kept telling me I didn't need to leave, but I told him I had plans. So I traveled for 3 weeks and then moved into the new place. Not surprisingly, he called, said he regretted everything and wanted to get back together. I said nope. Situations like that are why I always keep a healthy savings account. And that's the thing. Women are a resource. Literally, our time, energy, or our time, energy, or resources spent in the home is definitely valued, but they want to undervalue. They want to push your self-esteem down to where you're supposed to be like groveling to make them stay, or make you have to prove yourself to them. And she said, "Okay." They're not ready for the "okay, peace out" type of response. But this is wisdom. Situations like that are why I always keep a healthy savings account. Have your own money. Keep yourself financially healthy. Crucial Olive says, the sociopath serial cheater I was married to was still blindsided. I took it for so long he thought I would never leave. Told me I broke up the marriage and that I was the selfish one. The way they do the whole Darvo thing really needs to be studied. They really need to study how they become the victim, even when they're out here running amok, being community peen, like treating their partners like crap, and then they could be like, oh, "You left. What about the kids?" Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim offender. That's what Darvo is for the new people that haven't heard me use that term. Now we have Nina Bina. She says, "Oh, burbles, I am the queen of the blind side that wasn't, because I am very vocal. But if you choose not to listen, you can be like one. The one I dated in college for a while, but forgot his entire name and where I even knew him from when we ran into each other in the mall sometimes later. She said, I forgot your name and your face." Two, the 2 decades ago ex who pulled up to interfere and convinced me to stay as I was legit packing the moving truck to leave the state with the moving assistance of the ex before him. Three, the ex-spouse who was using his body to hold my car door open as I was driving off and moving on, as if he hadn't heard me say multiple times I was done, as if he hadn't watched me pack up everything I came with for a full month prior to moving day, and as if I'd forgotten how it was fine for me to struggle paying for everything for both of us, and the instant he got a tiny piece of change, he goes off and buys an effing motorcycle that he can't sleep in or under and couldn't get him to work in the wintry weather. He went and bought a motorcycle the first time he got some money. She said, I will dip on it. A useless man so MFN fast. Don't try me. Don't try her. Don't try a lot of these women. And this is one of the reasons why they do not want women to be financially free, because women will leave a situation that is not serving them as long as they have some confidence in themselves and some money and a plan. Confidence that they can survive and some money and a plan. They're gone. Start treating people better. I love this energy from this woman named Dot. She says, I blindsided a guy I was seeing many decades ago. He called on a Saturday morning and said that he might stop by. My heart took wing. About an hour later, my brain engaged. Wait, what? He might stop by. I continued getting myself ready and then took myself on a date. Movie, dinner, drink after, at a piano bar, cab home. Sunday morning, I got an angry call from the dude. He had indeed stopped by. I let him know I am not the last option in a harem. Never heard from him again. I don't think this is exactly the same as blindsiding someone, but I do think that this is a woman knowing her worth and not accepting scraps that these people are willing to throw out. All right, now here are some of the TikTok comments. Lolita Round says, 2 years ago, my dad kicked my emotionally, financially, and physically drained mom out. She moved in with me, took her name off the house and bills. She bought herself some clothes, something she never had the freedom or money to do, did some self-care and whatnot. He's been crashing out ever since. Amazing. This is what happens though, because once they attach and start draining your life force, you can get jacked up mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, all of that. So that is the reason why you have to have a sense of self-preservation. So when you see that you are getting drained, once it finally clicks and you detach the parasite from you, then you can go off and live and get that glow up that some women get once they detach that parasite. All right, now we got X Mentos X saying, my kid's dad kicked me out for going out with a girlfriend one night. On our way back, I asked him probably 7 times if I could come home and told him if I go to my folks, I'll never come back. I'll never come back. Cue months of him saying he didn't kick me out and that he didn't know that I was leaving him, despite the circumstances of the day when he told me to pack a bag. I'd never be welcome back. I'd never be welcome back, all because she went out with a girlfriend. Mo the Supreme says, my dad did this to my mom, left her for a year to, I guess, hurt her, and thought he could just come back. Ha! He came back to find divorce papers and had the nerve to be shocked. Nope says, mine filed for divorce online upon hearing I wanted a divorce. Saved me 500 pounds. High five, X. And then he said he did it to encourage me to work on the marriage. Shocked I wouldn't rescind the petition. These people, they really continue to, I don't know, embarrass themselves, thinking that they are going to have a woman groveling for them. I'm so glad that these women are sharing their stories. Please know and understand that you do not have to grovel to these people. Brighter Days Ahead says, my hubby moved out. Got surprised when I served him after 1 year. Now he's back on my porch. Divorce final 12/27/24. Good for you, Brighter Days Ahead. Now we got a username with a bunch of numbers behind it. She says, I filed for divorce 2 weeks after coming back from our big 2-week vacation abroad. 2-week vacation. I planned it all. I packed myself and the kids, purchased everything we might need. We went to a third world country where you simply can't buy anything. So if you forget something, good luck. His only job was to pack his personal belongings and load the car. He forgot a few things for himself, but most importantly, he didn't put the stroller for our baby in the car, a stroller that was folded and ready to go right by the door. He forgot. We didn't have time to go back once I realized it at the airport. I wasn't even mad. I went numb. After all the work I've done and managed to not forget one thing, he forgot the only thing he was in charge of. Spent the first week acting annoyed. He had to carry our youngest in his arms all the time, but didn't even try to find the solution. I did. Posted on a local group and found another mother who was leaving and willing to sell her stroller to us. Bless her. And that's the thing. This is how women get burnt out so quickly. Like literally, this woman knows and understands that if she can do all of this by herself, it's much easier than having to talk to another adult that should have some cognitive abilities. They're supposed to be the most logical leaders and can't even pick up the stroller that was right there. She's like, this is so much easier to do it completely on my own. And that's what she says. I realize that I'm done doing all this labor for him to benefit when I can't rely on him for anything without micromanaging. I went on vacation with the kids by myself since, and my stress levels were much lower without him around. Kids are exhausting, but it's even more exhausting when you have a whole ass other adult but still have to be the primary caregiver. I'll continue to do this using women's comments for content. Join the conversation. Give us your story. I was tagged in this post in the Am I Overreacting subreddit. She titles it Wanting to Break Up Because of Differences. And the thing is, this is the reason why I want women to get rooted in who they are and their values and what they want in life. Because all of her reasons, all of these supposed differences should be absolute deal breakers. And if you know yourself and you know that you don't want X, Y, and Z, don't even entertain it for too long, because eventually that X, Y, and Z is going to create some friction, some relationship issues on down the line. Stop this. Stop it early. Know your deal breakers and be like, okay, let's just leave this here. We're not compatible in this way. Our beliefs don't align. What we see for our future doesn't align. This is one of the main reasons I don't want young women to get in these serious relationships before they really know themselves. But let's get to the point. So she says, this is a long story, but I'll try to shorten it enough to get to the point. Me, 26-year-old woman, with my boyfriend, 23-year-old man. I will start by saying my boyfriend is in school. He's going for a degree that will eventually be 9 years long. He's on year 4 and works part-time. I work full-time. In our first year of dating, we moved in together. My house I already had, and I noticed we were on 2 different pages immediately, especially because he is mostly focused on school, which is great. He treats me well, takes me on dates, and we get along nicely. He's focused on the future, etc. He is European and definitely has some different ways of thinking from his parents. However, the financial strain of 2 people in a house in Canada on me was difficult, but we made it work. On our 1-year anniversary, he got me my first promise ring I've ever gotten from a boyfriend. We also had the baby talk, and unfortunately, I don't see kids in my future, but he says kids are a non-negotiable for him. I feel like we kind of brushed this point off because everything else was going pretty well. Please stop brushing off the whole kid situation. If it's a non-negotiable for him and a non-negotiable for you, this is where you should part. This is not conducive right here. This is not conducive. Break up. Fast forward to now, just shy of our 3 years. I am overwhelmed with housework. He tells me I need to lax on the cleaning when all I ask is to do a 10 or 15-minute tidy daily together so that we don't need to have days where our house is a disaster and we clean all day. We also have a dog, 2 cats, and some small animals, so it's extremely important our house stays clean, especially since the landlord lets us have our animals. This always turns into an argument when I ask him to tidy something after work or school, and I end up being quiet about it now because I know it'll be an argument. My mom suggested I stop cleaning to prove a point, and I did for a week, and it was horrible. I had to stop. There were crumbs and hairballs on the floor, towels piled up, clothes in the bathroom, dishes in the sink, both sides, grease on the stove, bed wasn't made, or made it sucked and made my environment feel like ass. So, this whole paragraph is another complete reason why this couple needs to break up, because she wants to have a clean environment. He wants to live in a landfill. Please separate and let him go live in a landfill, and you keep a nice and tidy apartment. All right, so she says the kid talk is also a huge one for me. Self-explanation here. She says, and this one is another complete reason to break up. I also do all of the grocery shopping, meal prepping and planning, pantry and fridge cleaning. Every Sunday, I make meal prep for the whole week. Whenever I'm home late, there will be no dinner waiting for me or slack picked up in that area. If there are no groceries, he'd probably eat dry rice if it meant he didn't need to cook. What is she getting out of this relationship? She does everything. So she has to do all the cleaning. She has to do all of the grocery shopping and cooking. She doesn't want kids, and he does. Like, what is the point in this relationship? This whole page is more reason to break up. Dog walking, pet care. I walk our dog every single night. If I ask him to walk him and I'm feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, it will be a chore, and he will walk the dog around the block quickly and call it quits. We also have 2 long hair cats. That means grooming, brushing, and litter box. I am the only one who does that. Money. He is great with money until it means spending it on our house or real life things. He has a large bank account with student loans so he can pay his loans back. Also, his normal account, plus a business account for his small business. I will spend the last bit of spending money on groceries, our pets, or if something breaks or is needed for the house. But if I ask him to do that, it's a big deal and he doesn't want to spend the money. But yet, he will make a $2,000 or $3,000 purchase for his business like no problem. More reasons to break up. There are many in between that I am not going off about, but coming up on 3 years, I think I've had a huge realization that we are on 2 different pages in life. Aside from these issues, it's all right, I guess. I just don't know if I'm holding on because we've been together for a long time. Almost 3 years is not a long time. I'm probably rambling, but it'd be nice to get some people's opinions on the info I'm giving here. I don't really want to go through the stress of arguing with someone through 4 or 5 more years of school to see if it'll get better. I've tried talking to him multiple times, but he just goes back to the same argument that I need to lax on everything and that we need to compromise. I don't really feel heard, and I don't know how else to bring everything up at this point. I'm always trying to live a healthy lifestyle and taking care of myself, pets, and my home so I can enjoy more activities and spend less time worrying about my surroundings. And he knew this because I was like that prior to dating as well. I've also brought up moving apart to different houses, and that's an absolute no from him. I'm just starting to think that maybe he needs to focus on just school and not living with a girlfriend. Am I overreacting? Are these plus more valid reasons to feel a bit pulled apart in a relationship? He's getting so much out of this relationship. He doesn't have to worry about cooking or cleaning. He has all the time and energy to focus on his schooling and work and his side business because she is doing all of these things for him. What is he doing for her except stressing her out, making the house dirty, and I don't get it. What is he doing for her? I don't know. This woman is 26 years old. To all of the women who just do too much, who are on team do too much, hear how ridiculous it sounds when you read these things off. Hopefully this woman has had some people talk some sense into her. This only got 48 comments, so it's not a lot. But I don't even really have to dig deep into these comments to know that it's like, break up, woman. Reread your whole essay. There are no reasons to stay with this man. This is where I was tagged in. Deep Fried Oligarch says, you are not overreacting, not at all. I think you know this isn't going to end well and are just asking for confirmation that it's time to dump him. You don't feel you can trust your own judgment because of the stress you're under. Well, honey, you can. You have solid judgment. You know you need to dump him. We all agree with your assessment. Your judgment is correct. Go watch Suburban Bougie and Mel Hamlet on YouTube. They can explain it in much more detail than I can here that you have a hobosexual that you need to get rid of ASAP. Listening to those women will free you. And at the public offender, will confirm it. Good luck, sincerely. Please, just stop allowing these people to attach to you and suck you dry. This woman is being used in all different kinds of ways. He's getting a whole lot out of this setup. Please stop allowing them to do this to you. Not going to do too many of these comments, but Grimy Gripper says the kids thing alone, never mind everything else, should be a relationship ender. There were a whole lot of relationship enders. There's absolutely no compromise when it comes to living, breathing human beings. He will absolutely resent you for not, and you will absolutely resent him if you do. It will ruin your relationship and lives. I'm not saying it destroys everybody, but pregnancy is so hard on the system. You will be angry for what it does to you emotionally and physically, and childcare is hard, especially if you have a partner who already doesn't help whatsoever. This is doomed, in my honest opinion. Actually, that wasn't the only one I was going to do. Florida Apologist says, he's living the dream. You pay for everything and do all of the work. What are you getting out of this relationship? Move on. Find someone with whom you have shared values. And then Deep Fried Oligarch says 100% he's got it made with her doing all of the work to make it easy for him to focus on his schooling and business. So he'll sit tight for 5 more years till he finishes his degree and grows his business. Then he'll want a baby and will pressure her till she either caves or flat out refuses. Yes, and then he'll move on. But by that time, he has it made. He's gotten everything out of her. He sucked her dry and used her for what he needed her for. And then he can move on to the woman that actually wants to have some kids. Y'all, please stop allowing them to attach to you and suck you dry. All right, let me know what you think about this one. And please just use this as a cautionary tale. Don't do this. So, this is probably the next husband that's going to be blindsided. This was posted in the Working Mom subreddit a few days ago. She says, significant other took a secret trip while I was suffering with work and postpartum. So she says, I'm reeling from this situation and need a place to vent. I'll try to keep it short, but with some backstory. She says, mid 2024, I started a new job that was very stressful. I also had a newborn under 12 months. My partner started a new job in January and was traveling almost weekly for work, Monday through Wednesday or Thursday, leaving me to balance work and tending to our baby in the mornings and evenings. All of my family is halfway across the country. I don't exactly have a village here. I was struggling badly. Long story short, think it was PPA. Finally got help. I'm much better now. All right, so PPA is anxiety, postpartum anxiety. I usually hear postpartum depression and had to look up the A. All right, but she says, I'm much better now, which is good. Okay, to continue the story, she says, the peak of all this, when some days I could barely make it through the day and felt a horrible sense of dread, was in October and November. I just found out that while my partner told me he traveled to a U.S. city for work one week in November, he actually took a solo trip to Mexico, Monday through Thursday. He lied about it to me multiple times, both then and now, after I confronted him, until finally admitting to it, saying he needed to get away from me. Saying he needed to get away from me and that he knew I'd be mad, so kept it a secret. He needed to get away from his significant other. I'm sorry, I needed to repeat that a couple of times just to, squish it into your brain that he needed to get away from this woman. Like, dude, I was struggling so hard alone, and I had a huge project due that week at work, so had to work all day, care for kiddo, put her to bed, and get back online at night while battling PPA. Just what a effing selfish move. I am disgusted and disappointed in considering next steps. I think she already knows what she needs to do, and she's in and through these comments already. Lily of the Valley says, I don't know that I could forgive that. Instead of being your partner and finding ways to give you both the needed break, he left you drowning and lied to you. And that's the thing. It's like when you see that your partner is struggling and you have a newborn and you just bounce and you're like, she'll figure it out. That is so egregious. That's one of the reasons why, this is another reason why I will continue to say the birth rate needs to plummet to hell because these dudes are not doing their part. So, unless you are really just wanting to be a single mother, stop having babies for these people right now until they really learn the lesson. They need to be alone, they need to be lonelier. Pepper Up said, I'd be willing to try marriage counseling under a lot of circumstances, but it's the attitude that the excuses show that would be the nail in the coffin for me. Needed to get away from me? Jesus Christ. And then here's the OP saying, yeah, the knife was already in, but this comment, needed to get away from me, twisted it. And I'm just appalled by the lack of accountability on his part. That's why I said I don't believe that she's going to stay in this relationship. Mulan says, if he was already traveling for work regularly, why the need to get away more? I honestly suspect there's a little bit more going on. Maybe not an affair, but maybe he's also struggling with mental health issues after a new baby. That does not excuse it. He 100% should have communicated it to you either way. It's effed up. I'm not sure I could forgive it, but I consider couples counseling to try to understand more at least. These people are exhausting the way they really want these women to go to couples counseling for beyond useless men. A breeze in the door says, another country for 4 days? Like, sure, run away to a coffee shop or a parking lot for an hour and say you hit traffic. But multiple days of a vacation? Unforgivable. And then to that, the OP said, he said he worked a lot and it was basically a workcation. Cool. Then unforgettable Bevy says, I don't know anyone who would go on a workcation to New Mexico. Are you sure he was alone? And to that, she says she ain't really tripping on if he's cheating or not, but it was just more egregious that he left her drowning. So she's like, I don't even care. He lied to me. He could do what he want now. I think that she is basically done with this man. I did go to her page to see if there was an update post. She didn't give a complete different post, but here is a comment where she says, while I haven't responded to every comment, rest assured I've read each and every one. The overwhelming sense of support and validity of the seriousness of this situation is seen and appreciated. There has been a lot on my mind, as you can imagine. To those inquiring about him cheating, yeah, same. One of the first questions I asked when all of this came to light, but somehow that seems secondary to the core situation at hand here. This core situation directly affects my daughter, and leaving her behind to secretly go fulfill selfish desires, whether that was to get away on his own or with the company of somebody else. And if you F with my kid, Mama Bear comes out. Given the traction this post has gotten, I'm hesitant to share details beyond what's been said. Thank you for your perspectives, advice, and sentiments. Ladies, we deserve better. There is something to be said about couples who fight through hard times and come out stronger on the other side. But there's also a time to recognize when actions are not related to making mistakes and are, in fact, a personality flaw. This woman is done. This man is going to be blindsided soon. He hasn't taken accountability for how he's acted, and she notices that, and she's not going to be here for that. And she's like, I'm not going to speak anymore on it. I'm just going to execute. And I love that for her. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about this one.
Being yourself doesn't always mean they're going to like you. It means that you're going to like you. Who cares what they think? Kick rocks, Deborah.